Previously on Mr. Trek. That was all 3 weeks ago. Let's take a look now at what's been happening since. So I've been working a lot on this sunken area from deck 8 down into deck 9. On board the ship and among crew members, my idea is that this has the nickname of Central Park, because it is right at the centre of the saucer. So we have a fountain area, a very pleasant kind of rocky area with trees, and there we can see one of our maintenance crew or security guys having a sit down on a rock. Okay, so here you can see access to the rocky area where you can just go for a pleasant stroll around, and there is a crewman for some reason dressed in white. And we can all speculate why he's dressed in white, but I'll tell you now why he's dressed in white. It's because I haven't painted him yet. Okay, so there is another access area where you can just stroll up into this pleasant area. There's another crewman dressed in his relaxation civilian outfit, and here is another maintenance guy entering Central Park via the circular corridor on deck 9. Back up on deck 8, my idea is that these tables will go all the way around Central Park, and up to now I've only done one Burke chair. These are really difficult to do down at 1/100 scale, and I did ask the guy in Ohio who printed my 1/25th scale Burke chairs if he could do 1/100, and he said it's just too thin. And I completely agree with that. It won't do it, especially down here. See where the look at the size of that chair to my finger. See the stand that the chair is on as a 3D print. That it just comes out too thin, but it kind of works here like this. We get the idea of the Burke chair. So these Burke chairs will be all over the place, all around. Now up on deck 8, as in the previous video, you can see this more kind of uniform area where the crew can take a stroll, and of course the running track which passes by the pool. Many questions came in the last video of how do people get in the pool from deck 8. It doesn't look like there's any access area, and there isn't. My idea is that this pool is accessed via deck 7, and look at that nice water effect there. This is just a piece of plastic sheeting placed over blue card, and when it gets the reflection, that just looks like still water, doesn't it? Also, the pool here, this lighter area near the edge of the saucer, is kind of the shallow end, so crew members can step into this pool via the shallow end and then go for a swim in deeper water there. I still have mixed feelings about this running track, about whether it should have separate lanes or whether it should just be an open space where people can either just go for a jog or, you know, fast walk, whatever you want to do, instead of having it with these specific lanes. And then of course all of this empty space here will be filled with gymnasiums and a real kitchen. And there we can see Kirk and Spock just having a stroll around on deck 8, having a chat. Let me take you down now onto deck 9, where we can begin to see the development of the biolabs under these trees here. Because again, as you know, if you've seen the previous video, these are real trees and the roots go down into biolabs on the deck below. Let me show you. Okay, so I've removed deck 8 and here we are now down on deck 9. So you can see clearly now the Central Park area sinks down onto deck 9. Development of corridor moving around deck 9, and also this area here and this area here is the space directly under the trees up on deck 8 that I just showed you a minute ago. So these will be biolabs researching, I don't know, what would they be researching? Soil analysis, soil cultivation, microorganisms in the soil so that we have a healthy real soil, where maybe the crew can undertake projects of their own on this long, deep 5-year mission to cultivate real food. So maybe somewhere down in the secondary hull there is like a big greenhouse deck section cultivating real food. Just hard to put this separation wall in here between the biolabs, and just had to add some of that red mesh there. Idea is that the doors to these biolabs will be green and the doors to Central Park will be yellow. Okay, so there is the whole of deck 9. Before we go any further, I'm going to test your knowledge of the original series. A few days ago I was cutting some spring onions, I was making some food, and as I cut the ends off the spring onions, these 3 characters appeared from the spring onions. Let me know what you think these 3 characters, or who these 3 characters are from the original series. It's a very specific episode, and let me know in the comment section who you think these 3 characters are. Now let's get back to the build. A lot of the comments coming in about this build are specifically to do with references to the Franz Joseph plans, and also to some degree the FASA plans. I mean, the FASA plans were created for a game, also like a Star Trek game, and a lot of comments are saying, look, there was no pool on deck 7, and there is no multi-deck open area between deck 8 and deck 9 and all that kind of thing. I'm very aware of that. I have the FASA plans, they're almost identical to the Franz Joseph plans. One issue that I have with those plans is that all of the decks on the ships are depicted as single level decks. Okay, there's no multi-level open areas anywhere. This is a 5-year mission going out into dark, deep interstellar space, folks. This is not a joke. All respect, mad respect to the submarine crews who submerged for maybe 3 months or something, and they're all crammed in, they're all hot bunking. I couldn't do that, so mad respect to that. But even the submarine crews, if something goes wrong out there, if a lot of the crew members start showing signs of stress or they get sick, they can surface and get immediate assistance, okay? And it's like 3 months. The maximum is 3 months. I mean, mad respect, I don't even think I could do 3 days in that situation. So, but anyway, this ship, the Enterprise, is out into deep interstellar space, out in Proxima Centauri and all that kind of things. There are no sunrises, there are no sunsets, there's no such thing as surfacing to get immediate assistance if all of the crew start going down with mental stress. The very success of the mission of the Enterprise, in my humble opinion, relies on the absolute stable functioning of the crew. Okay? If the crew all start going bonkers, it's game over. You know what? Done. So I'm changing things slightly. I'm staying with the absolute feel of the original ship. The areas that we saw on the show, staying with that, not changing that. But on areas that we did not see, I'm changing it to make it a more realistic environment for a human crew. Okay, this means that I am deviating from the Franz Josef plans, from the FASA plans, and you know, a lot of people say, no, it's not Canon, it's not this, and then a lot of people are telling me that actually the Franz Josef plans are not Canon, even though they are the official blueprints. They're not Canon. Okay, so as far as I can see, the areas that I'm imagining are areas that actually we never even saw on the show, or that were never even mentioned on the show. These are my FASA plans that I bought over 25 years ago, and here we can see Deck 8. It looks very nice. We have an open area where it looks like there's a park and trees and stuff like that. But then if we look at the side cross section, we can see that this Deck 8 recreation area is all one level. And it wouldn't matter how many plants and nice tables and lighting situations you have down here, if it's just a single level, you are always going to have this heavy, oppressive ceiling pressing down on you. And here we have a wonderful example of a multi-level open recreation deck area. So this is actually 3 decks high with a nice spiral staircase. So it's something like this that I see on the Enterprise. Because let's face it, folks, if you're going to be in space for 5 years, you're going to need something like this environment. Otherwise, you're just going to go completely nuts. Of course, I always love to give you an overview of where the whole of the model is at. So from above, here we can see the work on Deck 7, and quickly just come down. There is the cutaway allowing the trees on Deck 8 to come up through the level of Deck 7. Sick bay, the transporter room, the running track down on Deck 8 with our engineers checking a few things out there. And coming around, here is the pool on Deck 8, which is accessible from Deck 7. So you can see that on this area of Deck 7 I'm going to need to do another cutaway so that crew members can access this pool. So this will also be a small recreation facility on Deck 7. We just come further around, we can see all the GNDNs there and the workings around the outer edge of Deck 8. And then I really love this bit when we then drop down from the level of Deck 7 down to Deck 8, and there's Deck 9. Now just check this out. The undercut of Deck 7, the curvature from the outer rim of Deck 7, there it is, there's the undercut, the curvature, and it lines up absolutely wonderful with the curvature going down into Deck 8 and Deck 9. Of course, we're going to have Deck 10 and Deck 11 added further, but there it is just for now. And I think that shot there just really gives you the feel for the developing saucer section of the Enterprise. You can clearly see the undercut and how that is moving down into Deck 8 and Deck 9 underneath the saucer. And the large curving corridor on the outer rim of Deck 7 with those crew quarters. This is without doubt a crazy project. To build the entire interior of this USS Enterprise in full detail has never been done before. And to think that this 1/100th scale enormous model is going to be upscaled to 1/25th scale is just crazy. So if you're enjoying the content and the journey, do consider subscribing. It really helps me with this mission, this project. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in some weeks with the next update. Unless, of course, you become a patron, in which case I'll see you tomorrow with some behind the scenes stuff and further updates. On my Patreon, I'm posting every day or almost every day with photos of behind the scenes, short videos, and my own personal feelings of the philosophy behind this build and where I see it going. So the link to my Patreon is in the description. Bye for now.